to another episode in our Ask the Roofer video series. Here with Matthew Query, one of our favorite guests on the show.
Nice of you to say.
Just because you're here.
Don't have to lie to everybody.
Freedom Home Inspections, your home inspector in North South Carolina. If y'all don't remember, didn't see him on the first run. Good to have you back, man.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
It's been just over a year since we shot last videos.
Pretty crazy.
Time flies.
It does.
Wanted to see, like, in this time that's gone by, what everybody wants to know. What's the craziest thing you've seen in your home inspection?
You know, it's crazy. You would think that you wouldn't find anything in a new house.
Mm-hmm.
But just yesterday, I did actually a pre-listing inspection for a guy or a couple. And I went into the attic, and the combustion vent from the gas water heater was completely disconnected.
Just open.
And it wasn't even disconnected. They forgot to put a 45-degree angle part to connect one piece to another piece. So for 3 or 4 years, I guess, however old this house was, combustion gases have been dumping into their attic. And fortunately, it's really well ventilated, so that, you know, their CO2 alarms hadn't gone off, and hopefully they haven't had any long-term effects that they haven't felt yet. But
wow,
people have a real misnomer when it comes to new construction. I found another one. It was also brand new. It was a spec house. Went into the attic space, and maybe some of your viewers know what an LVL is, but it's a really high density piece of lumber.
Structural lumber,
yeah, laminated veneer lumber. And there were 4 of these.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really have a lot of weight going on.
Yeah, it carried a lot of weight.
Exactly. And so a part of the requirement when you put 4 of those together, typically an engineer is going to want you to put a lag bolt or or an anchor carriage bolt
all the way through.
Exactly. Well, they were there, they just weren't secured. So I thought they looked a little odd, and I pulled on one, it just pulled right out.
So you mean you have to put something on the other end of that?
Yeah, so in this case, they were going to have to cut out the sheetrock in the garage all the way down. This LVL is a 2 or 3 car garage.
Yep.
And install these nuts and washers. It's crazy. So yeah, a couple of crazy things.
Aside from gas poisoning someone's home for 3 years, like,
no big deal.
Like no skeletons or like dead animals or anything like that.
No, well, dead animals, all the time.
That's not an exciting thing anymore.
No, that's not really
exciting.
Well, you're just kind of like, oh well, there it is. Move it to the side.
The screwdriver.
Yes. No, I don't have a screwdriver. Just my glove. I wear gloves now.
There you go.
I've gotten smart. I was in a crawl space recently with a guy that we work with a lot, Jared Hewlin, Kramer Pest Control.
Good friend of mine,
Yeah, and so we happened to be in the crawl space together. It was an older home, and I said, Jared, he's been doing this longer than I have. Have you ever run into, a dead body or anything under here? Because there were some like humps underneath the vapor barrier. It was black plastic, so you couldn't see underneath. So I was like, what's going on here? Ended up finding fresh snake poop.
Ooh.
Like he said, that's real fresh. Like it's still in here. And we were all
like, that was an hour ago.
Around. Yeah, no, not even that. I mean, It was like he had just done it. He got scared and bolted. So, and they typically like to hide in between the insulation and the floor joists.
Man, I was
not my favorite part of the job.
As a kid, I was probably 16, and we'd always do side jobs for friends and stuff.
Yeah.
We knew a guy that built a log cabin, needed to insulate underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
So he hired me and my brothers, paid us, a couple $100. He had all the insulation. Great deal for him. Great deal for me as a 16-year-old, get some cash.
Yeah, that's great.
So we go under this crawl space, and on the front end, it was a good 6 foot, and then it tapered down to probably 3. And going through, putting everything up, come around a corner, and there's a coiled up 6+ foot black snake. I hit my head on so many floor joists trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
once we calmed down, like went back, it's gone. So
where is it?
Yeah. So we looking for that thing, chasing it through. Once we realized it was a black snake, chasing it through. Eventually got it cornered where it wasn't bothering us, and we just kind of kept an eye on where it was as we did all of our work.
Yeah.
You mentioned a pre-listing inspection in your first story. What is a pre-listing inspection?
So pre-listing inspection is a client that would call me prior to putting their home on the market.
So the guy that owns it, lives in it now, getting ready to sell it.
You can call it a seller's inspection as well. It's really valuable because as a home inspector, I'm typically going in a house that is getting sold. So I'm contracted by the buyer.
Yeah.
And so
you're not on the seller's side.
Exactly. And I go in and I find everything that's wrong with the house.
Yep.
And sometimes that can put a lot of strain on a seller because some of the things I may have found, oftentimes, unfortunately in my case, are things that their previous inspector missed.
Yep.
Or a code enforcement official missed, or a builder. And they are then put under the gun to get it done quickly.
Within the time allotted.
Exactly.
Or you lose the contract.
And so I don't know, you could probably speak to this in your business. If somebody calls you and says, hey, I've got this urgent thing, well, you've already got your calendar booked.
Months out.
Exactly. But if they absolutely say, well, I've got to have this done, you're the only person that can do it, I can't find anybody else, I would imagine you probably are going to charge more as as a premium.
Because we're going to have somebody have to work overtime on the weekend or something like that to get to it. So it's going to, by default, cost more. Yep.
So the listing inspection costs the same amount as the buyer would charge. There's no difference in the amount that they would pay. But the freedom is that you see what I did there? Freedom.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to mention it once you're done.
The freedom is that there's a couple things. One, it really shows the buyer, your potential buyer, that you're exposing everything.
Yep.
You have nothing to hide. And it also says, hey, I've seen these things, I've fixed everything, and I like to take care of my house. So it gives them a real peace about buying their house.
Well, it's like you go to buy a car and they have their maintenance records and hey, we just got it up to speed and did all this service. It's a whole lot easier buy than if you have to take the car to the mechanic and quickly tell me everything wrong with this vehicle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge selling feature. And with me, I don't know how everybody else does it as far as in the inspector world, but I charge a minimal fee to return. So I can be contracted by both parties. There's nothing in my standards of practice that say I can't be. I can come back and re-inspect those items that I found for a buyer,
were fixed or not.
And so on the flip side, the buyer pays less for a home inspection. Typically up to 50% less, if not more. So depends on the size of the house.
Nice.
Yeah.
So North Carolina, South Carolina. You're not just going after like real estate agents and brokers. Any homeowner can, especially if they're getting ready to buy or sell, can bring you in and have an educated process rather than reactionary waiting on something to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been really fortunate. I haven't done a whole lot of marketing or advertising. Thankful to have been on here to talk with you previously, and I just get out there and promote other people. Really, when I post on Facebook, I give shout outs to all the realtors I'm working with, and I'm really thankful for the business that they continue to give me, and the word of mouth marketing really works.
That's awesome. That's the best kind of referrals right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, appreciate you coming out today and being on.
Yeah, thank you.
Get you back on here soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Guys, thanks for being with us. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for watching this episode. Give it a like. Let us know what you thought in the comments down there. Share it if you feel so inclined. If you really like to go to our page under follow, click see first. That way you never miss a video. See it as soon as it comes out. And we'll see you on the next episode.